Welcome to May 2026, the Karmic Wheel, a monthly tarot forecast. Before going on to the next slide, where I will talk about the tarot archetypes for the month of May, I wanted to just briefly recap the month of April. Now, I am recording this on April 28th, just 2 more days until the end of April. But we already saw some of those archetypes that I've mentioned play out. We had the Wheel of Fortune, the Emperor, and Temperance. And when we're reading it very literal, right? The Wheel of Fortune next to the Emperor energy, that means that there's good luck for that emperor. And it also means that the emperor's energy is tempered in some way. So I did talk about boundaries being an issue for April. We saw and continue to see the conflict with Iran. And as I mentioned before, in that previous video, for the forecast of April, the emperor's force was going to be met with challenges. And the emperor, I think in this case, we can safely assume has the archetype that is Trump. It's an Aries energy, a fiery energy, a feisty energy, and it's more negative kind of frequency. And it was met with challenges, right? It wasn't going to be so easy to try to topple a regime in Iran the way that seemingly it appeared to have been for Venezuela. And by the way, the regime in Venezuela is basically still the same. But yeah, it was, as I mentioned, it was going to be met with challenges. And things were actually tempered when we see all of these ceasefires going activate and deactivate. But in nevertheless, we can see the archetype of temperance at play in the month of April. There's still a lot we don't know about this engagement with Iran. I think the emperor is still going to be very aggressive moving forward, this energy. But at least we know that for April, it was indeed tempered, just like the cards said it would be. Let's move on to the next slide, where we'll talk a little bit about what's going on for the month of May. So once again, we are interfacing with the Wheel of Fortune for this entire year of 2026. This is all about movement and revolutions. When the Hierophant comes into the game here, this is about remembering tradition. However, when it's next to this devil archetype, this could also be about breaking away from traditions. Now, the Hierophant in the middle here is present in the month of May in order to teach us that there are sacred belief systems that will be revealed to us this month. The Hierophant is a teacher, but it's a teacher of life experiences through indoctrinations. Clearly, the Hierophant showing up, maybe there may be some more news about the Pope interfacing with the devil archetype, right? And you can imagine who potentially that could be. And the devil archetype is here in May to remind us that if we decide uh, to be chained to the material world, we will not be experiencing the gifts of freedom. With the devil archetype, there is always a deliberate perversion of the ultimate truth that we are here to seek, which is that of the spiritual connection and union with the divine within us. This archetype, meaning the devil archetype, is also the quintessential symbol of oppression. So looking at this combination of the Hierophant, which is about indoctrination, and the devil archetype, which is about oppression, the Wheel of Fortune may be going on a downward spiral, and may seem a little bit like collectively we are not fortunate, right? Like there might be something that's happening that is kind of showing us, oh, this is kind of going into some sort of dangerous territory here, where it will be made very clear to us that everything that we've been going through in the last couple of years, is a battle between good and evil. This may be the time in May in which we will be going through a bigger soul change within us, right? Here we have the Hierophant and the Devil archetype. This is a reminder for us to sort of tap into our own inner revolution and inner wisdom, or even the desire to change and become one with God, or one with the universe. We are really going to be interfacing between our desire for freedom and independence and our commitment, or not, to oppression and indoctrination. This month, we are not, if we're not willing to change, right? If we decide, I don't want to change, or I'm going to continue to feed the negative news cycles, etc., we may collectively be dealing with authoritarian principles that keep us more chained into this material world, locking us in time, restricting our freedoms rather than expanding them. Remember that the Wheel of Fortune is also about time and space. And we are being asked, I believe, in May to transcend both time and space. And the way to do that is by connecting to the God source. So this month of May, um, we need to sort of appeal to the higher frequency of the Hierophant, which is to remind ourselves that we can connect directly with the divine. And also, we have to kind of tap into the higher frequency of the Devil archetype, which is to remind us that we have the keys to our own freedom and independence. The Devil archetype is by nature a shadow archetype. So we will be seeing the shadows. It's important for us to become the light in this dark space. And I'm also feeling that the darker aspects will be seen perhaps in the later part of May. That's what I'm feeling. All right, I like to keep these short and sweet. Um, I will add that with these particular archetypes, that we keep our prayers up, and that we remember that last year we held the light for ourselves and others, and it's important for us to now beam that light forward, meaning go into your prayer, go into your meditation. And that's really the message of the Hierophant, to go into the prayers, to go into the traditional spiritual texts. And you see this image here with the keys. I believe that's going to be the key to taking down this oppression, the devil archetype that wants to sort of appear beautiful when it's not. So the Hierophant is telling us what we need to do. Go into prayer. Let's see what happens. Stay safe. And I'll catch you on the next month of June. Bye.